Hey there, everybody. As so many of you out there know already, the Greenleaf series finale is coming now in just the span of a few short days. This is the last weekend that we have before we know how the show is going to end, and
Yep.
beyond all that, we're left with quite possibly one of the saddest cliffhangers of all time at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone into a little bit more of sort of what's going on with Bishop Greenleaf or what we think is, and we'll have a link in the description for you below. But for this video, we're going to be looking at some sort of hanging questions that have been going on all season that I need some answers to.
The reality is, we only have seemingly an hour left, unless they do some sort of like crazy extended finale thing here, and I don't know how they're going to answer all of these. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's meant to be something that'll be picked up in the spinoff, but for now, I think we gotta know a couple more things, otherwise we're just gonna be left at the end of this finale being like, what? You spent all this time on this one insert storyline here, and we got nothing more. But before we dive in, if you guys enjoy this discussion, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and if you do want to support us more, check that link in the description to both the store and also our Patreon, where we have a number of different tiers and interesting stuff over there that is definitely worth checking out.
Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about, Jacob and Tasha. So earlier, I mean, we've seen that there's obviously was a little sort of back and forth with them. And then we saw this season that she kind of made a little move when she found out that he was getting divorced. And he said, listen, let me do this right this time. Let me tie up everything. Then let's kind of have a dinner or something and see how it works out. We have not seen Tasha since then. So now it looks like they're pretty much final for what's going on with Chris and Jacob, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't reunite, because married couples separate or divorce and then get back together all the time. It happens.
This is a theory that I don't think I've expressed in any videos yet, but this is what I'm really starting to feel like there's going to be some sort of time jump in the finale where we're going to, I am presuming, unfortunately, that Bishop Greenleaf is going to be no longer with us. I think the start of the finale will be spent sort of paying some respects to Bishop, but then I think at some point we may jump forward, and I think that's going to be the time to maybe see something more here with Jacob, just because it doesn't feel like the right timing at all, right after Bishop dies, for Jacob to be pursuing something with really anybody. I think they probably want to touch on this again, but I think they're going to be patient.
Okay, what's in the crate? So we have seen that Bishop's been sitting on this crate for like decades, that there's apparently a whole bunch of pieces of a car in this crate. I've seen you guys in the comments thinking that there's a whole car in there. I kind of wondered that as well too. My old boss made a old Chevelle. He put together a Chevelle, and it was not that big, that it came in a crate that is that big of pieces. So I think there could be an actual car in there. It could be just the pieces. Maybe this car is a bit bigger than a Chevelle, and that's how that rolls. But like what you're saying with the time jump, is it possible that there is a full car in there and we're going to sort of see AJ on the road? Because if that car's been sitting in there for decades,
Yeah.
this car doesn't work. Like, the oil's going to not be working. Lots of other fluids are going to be evaporating. I'm sure all the tires are probably flat from sitting there. The battery's probably dead. I mean, there's some stuff that will still need to be worked on. He's not going to open up the crate and drive off into the sunset.
No, this car is gonna need a generous amount of love if it's ever really gonna run on the show. Can we bring in Exhibit to try to help with this car? Like, it needs something. I'm not actually altogether sure what's under there. My feeling though is that I think it's going to be something that represents more emotional significance. Like, they've spent so much time with AJ and Bishop over the past couple of episodes that I think AJ has to have taken something away from that, even if he hasn't taken enough away from other relationships.
Yeah, I think he feels like it was building up with Bishop that he is going to be a little bit on this journey of self-discovery. Who is he? Who does he want to be? He now knows who his family is. And, where does he want to go from there? If Bishop really is dead, which I think he is, he may start to get more into not just a journey of self-discovery, but more of a spiritual one too. So there's a large part of me that really wants there to just be a full-out working car under there, so that the few things that he needs to fix, which is probably tires, battery, and some fluids, is about all he really needs to deal with, so that he can I'd love to see a bit of a time jump where it's like, where is everybody? And there's AJ driving off, sort of discovering the world and seeing everything that's out there to offer.
I would be so game for that. I would be so game to just have something where AJ gets a proper ending that feels right, and because they have shown us this crate enough times, it's something they can pay off without spending, 5 or 6 minutes on it, which, there are other storylines that they're definitely going to need to spend 5 or 6 minutes on, so it's a quick, easy bit of closure.
Okay, Noah or Darius?
Oh boy.
So this has obviously been going on for seasons and seasons and seasons. We saw Noah sort of around the beginning, and they disappeared for a huge chunk of the show when Darius was here. Now this season has been kind of a little bit of a back and forth. Who is she going to end up with? Or if she's going to end up with nobody. And that is something I want to see tied up. And I was and am in the Darius camp. If she ends up with Darius, I'm not going to be mad. If she actually ends up with Noah, I'm not going to be mad. But I'm now in the camp that I wouldn't mind her spending some time on her own and just sort of ending this series with, who knows what the future holds for her.
I've already said I'm Team Darius. I
like Darius.
I can't go back on that now. No. I think I want to see the two of them together. And so if
I know you want the Darius Grace spinoff.
Give me the Darius. That's really what I'll make it clear. If it is Noah in the end of all of this, I'm not gonna jump up on the table and start throwing things off the desk or anything. I'm not gonna be enraged. I think Noah's.
Thank you for not trashing the house. Yeah, I appreciate it.
By the way, this is the ultimate TV trope that annoys me, is somebody getting mad and destroying all their stuff. It's you guys gotta go pay for that stuff. Can't you go find nobody does this in real life. Oh, I'm mad. Let me just throw this computer across. Okay, that's neither here nor there. But it is a situation where I understand why people like Noah, or at least are interested in Noah. It's not like Noah he's not some horrific human being or anything.
And there is a lot of history. This is someone that she has a kid with, somebody that she's known for a really long time, sort of a, first real love. I mean, everybody loves that kind of story. But there is also something to be said for what is going on with Darius. He has been here during some really, really dark stuff. And I mean, those kinds of things can bond you for life.
I don't necessarily think that they are going to give us closure. I think there's a possibility it could be something like you said. But I feel ultimately they will probably just tip the cap a little bit. Just maybe just show Grace going out to dinner with Darius, and that will be enough to make me think that, okay, they're going to have a future together, all is well. I mean, it's possible if you want to write fan fiction that's they go out to dinner together and then it doesn't work out and she ends up with Noah, that is your right to do so. I will write my own story, thank you.
At the very least, for Noah and Grace fans, you guys know that they're clearly going to have some sort of relationship for the rest of their lives. Whether it's romantic or not is something else. They have a kid together. And I know he's an adult kid, but that bonds them in a way that nothing else does as well.
Yeah, Noah's not just going to vanish from the picture at this point.
Okay, so the last thing that I really need an answer on is, who was this guy in the graveyard?
Yeah.
Why was he brought in? Was he just some sort of guardian angel that was here to help AJ not go to jail? Was he one of the guys that did something to AJ while he was in jail? Was he a figment of everybody's imagination, because I've never really brought him up since? This feels really just, was it really just a coincidence that this guy just happened to show up and then he just happened to be at this, take the fall for it? He just happened to figure out what's going on with this grave site and figuring out who everybody is. It is such a huge cliffhanger from last season. To really not have it pay off would be really disappointing. I need to know who he is. Please tell me who he is.
Unless this is the greatest reveal of all time in the finale, I'm already going to chalk this up as a disappointment. And I love a lot of what Greenleaf has done in this final season. Don't get me wrong. Keith David was incredible on this past episode, and they've told so many powerful stories. But I feel like this was such a wasted opportunity because they made us wait for months to figure out who this guy was and what his connection would be, and then they just were like, and they just kind of got rid of it. And I'm a little more forgiving on the, is Darius dead? Oh, no, wait, no, sorry, actually he's not, that they just recently pulled on us, because at least that was only like a week that we had to think that.
Yeah, there were so many really fun theories with all of you guys and between us as well.
Yeah.
With who this guy at the graveyard is. And there was a long time that I was convinced that he was the real AJ and that we were going to have some reveal that this other AJ is not really that AJ. And he took this guy's identity. There was all these really great things. And that's one of the things that Greenleaf does better than any other show, where they will give a storyline and we as a fandom can all go out and be like, oh, it could be branching here or here or here or here. And it gives us so many different possibilities, but usually the show will get to a point where they will reveal what the truth is, and we can all be like, hey, I was right, or I'll take an L on that.
It is a situation where they have a great mythology. They've built up a great mythology.
Yeah.
This is just not, it is a ghost just as much as so many people originally thought that guy was a ghost. Like, I wish there were answers. Hopefully answers to some of this, though, will be coming.
I think we'll get some answers, but I'm like you. I'm kind of worried with this being the last episode. I don't know why they would bring him back and, bring back his idea and tie it up in the very last episode, unless it's sort of a throwaway in a conversation. Like, maybe AJ ends up having a conversation with his sister and is like, listen, I got to tell somebody, so I'm going to tell you that guy and this thing that happened, he is whatever the theory is, right? He's the real AJ. He's the guy who did this to me in prison. I have no idea who he is. There needs to be something. I really would like it.
Let's hope. Let's cross our fingers. Maybe there'll be teases for a spinoff. I'm sure we'll talk more about that down the road. But for now, let's hear from you guys. What questions do you need answered in the Greenleaf series finale? Let us know in the comments, and if you did enjoy this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us more by checking those links to our Patreon, to the store, and we'll see you here next time.